Hey everyone, Dan from Telestats here. Hope that you're doing okay. This is just the final wrap-up video that I'm making for this year's Strictly. It's been a disappointing year, really. I said at the beginning of this series of videos that with the cast that we had, with the unclear winner, that it might be a series full of twists and turns. What we've found is through some things that are the producer's fault, some things that aren't, just like withdrawals and stuff. What has ended up happening is that the series basically became a coronation fairly early on for Ellie, and tomorrow, Saturday night, we're going to see her crowned the winner of Strictly Come Dancing, no question about it. It is going to be a coronation for Ellie. The two nearest competitors, in my view, are now out the competition. That's Nigel and Annabelle. Nigel was obviously just unfortunate. Annabelle was avoidable. It's weird that they did it. Why have the producers been so keen to create this final of people who the audience isn't really behind? My view is that Annabelle came second last week, but they still got rid of her because of her position on the leaderboard. The main producer of Strictly this year is someone that they poached from The X Factor. Now, I watched The X Factor for many years and I know why it died. In fact, I even wrote some articles about why the show died. And there's a lot of reasons, but what you can see is that for reasons that, even though it killed the last show she was on, they're now bringing those elements into Strictly. One of those elements that I particularly dislike is the idea that producers have that the only story worth telling is the story that they manufacture. And they don't seem to see that people can quite easily tell when they're being played. They can tell when a story is inauthentic and when a story is real. And by pushing all these silly inauthentic stories, they're ruining the show. Beyond that, you have the obvious things about favoritism when it comes to staging and lighting and music. You have judges, instead of being supporting characters in the show, they start to become the main focus. That isn't so much a problem on Strictly. It certainly was on The X Factor. It was like the show was all about the judges and the contestants were kind of the supporting characters. It's still not so bad on Strictly, but you can see that the focus is now more turning towards the judges' individual personalities and their outrageous, wacky comments, rather than what they should be doing, which is just being a little bit more stoic and just judging the dance in front of them. Now it's a lot more emotional, now it's a lot more personal, now it's a lot more this and that, and for me, it's something that I don't particularly enjoy. Anyway, enough ranting. Like I said, Ellie is winning, and it's funny because she's currently the same odds that Rose Ayling-Ellis was in her year at the same time where we are now, the day before the final. And the weird thing is that Rose was in a two-person final, Ellie is obviously in a three-person final, so arguably Ellie is actually more of a cert than Rose was. So that should give you an idea of where we are, really. They really did get rid of her only chance of competition in eliminating Annabelle. A final of Ellie, Annabelle and Nigel, I think, would have been more entertaining and more engaging than what we're being given tomorrow. In terms of bumpiness in the final, I mean, unless Ellie trips over her dress or messes up a lift or something, I mean, I don't think it would ever make even the slightest bit of difference. I'm talking about a small penny's worth of drift where you might be able to get a little bit more out of this final. But honestly, if you haven't put money on Ellie this year, then you should consider it a year lost. Thankfully for me, I'm sitting pretty. Annabelle was my biggest green, but I never really thought she was actually going to win. I thought it was a bit of a long shot. So yeah, it's going to be payday tomorrow, and that's it. It would be nice to have a year where we really don't know who's going to win, where we have two contestants or even three contestants, more or less the same odds. It feels like it's been a while since we had that. But no, it's another coronation, and it's a coronation that has been largely, but not completely, but largely manufactured. It feels like a wasted year for the show. I find that Strictly is becoming more and more unwatchable, and I am debating whether I will watch it next year if this continues, if the way that the show is produced continues. because it's starting not to become fun. Anyway, like I said, not much to say. The coronation's been ongoing for weeks, and now it's just putting the crown on her head. If you bet on Ellie, you're going to have a nice payout. You're going to have a nice Christmas. If you didn't bet on Ellie, well, it's cold for the kids. We'll see you in the new year. Have a good one. Good luck. And I'll see you on the other side. Cheers.